Dr. Matthew, starting with you, with Tua's neurologist seeing him, what do you think they're looking for?
Ultimately, the most important thing you look for after a concussion is how the patient is behaving. We do a thorough neurological exam. Can the patient walk in a straight line? Is Tua complaining of disorientation, mild symptoms like nausea, vomiting, headache, perhaps even a change in personality in terms of not remembering things? Remember, for each athlete, a concussion can present very differently, but after four concussions, this is somebody that we need to take a very close look at and make sure that Tua is ready if he decides to come back.
Yeah, it just looked so painful and awful. And with his hands clamping and all that, and learning that that's a sign of neurological trauma, too. Keith, what was your reaction when you saw that hit come down on Thursday night's game?
Well, my reaction was that football is not a safe game, no matter what you try to do. I mean, you have guys who are humongous, who are fast, who are quick, bench pressing over 500 pounds, 270, 80 pounds. And no matter what type of helmet you have, as we've seen, it's not something that has worked too well. So I played with the great Junior Seau, who actually is Polynesian as well. And he played in the NFL for 20 years. When we were at USC together, he had many, many concussions. And then we all know the story of the suicide and all the brain injuries that happened. So I think that no matter what people say, it's just not a safe game, but it's a game that guys love. And that's what people don't understand. Most people try to get workplace energy and morale. I mean, we got it. We step out on the field. We got team connection, camaraderie, energy. We tape the gloves up, put the Vaseline on the arms so we look good on TV and we're ready. And people don't understand that adrenaline that we have, and it makes guys want to play.
Yeah, not to mention the millions, even hundreds of millions of dollars that can be earned sometimes. It's a way to provide for your family, and it's, their identities are wrapped up in it, I imagine, too. Dr. Matthew, not only is this his fourth concussion in 5 years, it's his third in just the last 24 months. So how dangerous is it to sustain this many in a short amount of time? Does that make a difference?
A few years ago, what's interesting is few doctors who actually dealt with concussions in high-profile players or the sports of American football would say after three concussions, your career is over. And the reason is because after one concussion, your risk for another concussion is extremely high. We talk about that second impact syndrome. That is a player who goes back onto the field even before the first concussion has completely resolved. So really, ultimately, I'm not Tua's personal physician, and it's a decision that he needs to make. I also don't know what it's like to sign a $200 million contract. So ultimately, Tua and his family need to make the right decision. And one last thing, Anna, Keith mentioned how dangerous the sport is. This condition called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. That's very dangerous because the symptoms are subtle. It's changes that happen gradually, personality changes. These are players who have retired that may not have had major concussions, and their personalities change. They have headaches. They try to hide the symptoms because, we have egos. Athletes want to continue to do well post-retirement. So ultimately, there are a lot of things to consider with Tua. Most importantly is to think about the future and not necessarily today or tomorrow.
Yeah, and the future of the games for other players, too. They've got the helmets that are changing, even that are position-specific in some cases even. On Friday morning, Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel was asked his thoughts on when he saw Tua go down. Let's take a look.
My thought was concern, and I was just worried about my guy. So, not something that you ever want to be a part of. You hope not to.
Yeah, Keith, I imagine the relationship between coach and players, and the players just as a team as a whole, you're like brothers in a lot of ways. How emotionally difficult is it when you're trying to juggle this whole thing where, if he was to retire, that would really impact the team's performance too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's the elephant in the room. Everyone's like, if I had a $212 million contract, I mean, I'm going to take my money and just leave and relax and do what I want to do. But you don't understand the connection and, like I said, the camaraderie and all of this that guys have.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.